Hi, I'm Craig. My wife is Pam, and we want to thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel, Making Paradise. Today we want to give you an overview of some things we've done already out here and give you some of our plans that we hope to get done in the upcoming year, possibly going into next year. So click on the subscribe button to keep up with what we're doing. There's going to be a lot going on out here, and we'll be posting videos keeping up with our progress. Pam and I lived in a house for about 30 years in South Carolina where we became very accomplished do-it-yourselfers. We had a second floor that we completely finished, adding a couple of bedrooms, a den, a bathroom. We added porches, decks. We built small buildings on the property. We put in a large vegetable garden with raised beds. We had water gardens. We had a pool area that had a very large outdoor kitchen complex that had several wood-fired ovens, including a wood-fired pizza oven. We had some other propane cookers. So we had resources out there to entertain dozens of people. In short, we were building our version of suburban paradise. But as life happens, our grown children moved out of state with their families. And one morning, Pam and I looked around and realized we had no close family nearby. So we moved to Southwest Virginia to be near family. 2.5 years ago, we got really lucky and found this piece of property. It's about 12.5 acres with 1,000 foot of frontage on a trout stream. This area was an old hayfield that was part of a larger farm that was in the valley between these two mountain ridges. And what's really neat about this property is, except for the little bit of the valley here that was farm, everything else out here is national forest, so there won't be any development on either side of us. Our trout stream has several whitewater ripples along the length of it. And when the water's high like it is today, you can hear the sound of the water no matter where you come out here. Even in the summertime when the water level is low, you get close to the creek, there's a real strong sound of babbling water. So we designed our house to put it as close to the creek as possible so we could get advantage of that sound. We will do some videos showing how we chose our site by the creek, and we'll also do a video answering that question we get all the time about, are we worried about the creek flooding and coming up into the house? Once we designed the house, we found a builder that was willing to work with us and let us do a lot of the work inside. Our builder did all the framing work, the exterior of the house. His guys did all the heavy lifting, like installing sheetrock and putting up wood ceilings for us. But then we went in and did all the electrical wiring, the kitchen design, the bathroom design, and all the interior finishes. So when we get some rainy days, we'll go inside, show you some of the things we've done there. I think you'll agree we've got some very unique things. We moved into the house a little over a year ago, had a few things we had to finish for the building inspector. We've got that done. I think you can agree with us that our property has the makings of a pretty good paradise already. Once we finished the house, we could have just planted a few bushes for landscaping, pulled up our rockers on the front porch, and just sit back and watch the hayfield grow. But we're not that kind of people. We have a vision for things we want to do on this property still. One of the first things we did was to buy this little tractor. It's a 30 horsepower, 4-wheel drive Branson tractor with a front loader and a backhoe attachment. Plus we have a few other toys for it. You'll see this tractor a lot in our videos. We use it every day. Our tractor dealer is surprised by how many hours we have on it already. We'll do some videos just about the tractor itself, attaching some of the implements, things like that, so you can look for those. Once we got the tractor, we were able to start doing the major landscaping around the house. And one thing we had on the property are a lot of rocks that got pushed up against the tree line out here. We think probably when they had a hayfield out here, they would just push them out of the way. and we've dug up a lot more rocks doing work with the tractor. So we built this loose laid stone retaining wall around the front of the house. We found a spot out in the field here we could dig topsoil, bring it up and raise this ground level up. Created planting beds on either side of our stonework that will have mostly perennial flowers, so a few shrubs in here. We created a planting bed next to the house that's mainly shrubs with a few perennials. We'll be adding more flowers this spring. Once we start seeing what's coming up where we planted things, filling in holes. So we'll do videos about all of that. We also built another stone wall across the part of the property over here. It goes east-west and faces due south. That gave us a wall that we could plant tender plants up against. So we have big bushes we put there this fall. We've had some cold days this winter. We'll see this spring weather. That helps them get through the winter by creating a microclimate. We decided we did not want a lot of lawn out here to maintain. So we created just a very small lawn strip between the two flower beds above this retaining wall. We're going to continue that lawn strip around. The outside is just a very narrow band. Pam established this lawn strip this fall from seed. It's still pretty tender. It's going to toughen up as it gets older. And then she'll be establishing a grass bed outside the flower beds here. So we'll do videos with her doing that. The other thing we've done on this part of the property is we needed a walkway to get from the driveway to the front porch. We wanted to get a concrete truck in here, do a big pour of concrete, have it stamped to make it look like flagstone. But because of our location, it was going to be so long before a concrete company would agree to come here. So we ended up making this walkway and the little front porch using bagged concrete and surface bonding concrete. Once we're out of freezing weather, we'll come back and grout the cracks in this sidewalk, put a sealant on everything. We are going to build a patio like this on the back of the house, so we'll show you that technique this summer when we can work back there. As part of the landscaping areas where we're doing a lot of extensive work, we're going to put a koi pond along the driveway in this section over here. We've run a conduit so we can run electrical to that. Right below the koi pond, we'll have some bog gardens and then probably transition to some perennials and bushes. And then we'll let it transition to a rougher part of the property that we don't have to maintain as much. When we first started building the house, the hayfield had not been cut for several years and it was high grass out here. You almost could not walk across here. We had our builder cut a driveway straight from the road across the field to the house as the shortest distance. At the time we did that, we did not know that the area we chose to go across became very boggy certain times of the year. What looks like a pond behind me is really just a shallow depression we dug topsoil out of. It's about 18 inches deep right now. It filled up with water in November. It's going to stay wet until probably April. So we were in the house last winter. The last half of the driveway going to the road was a solid sheet of ice. We ended up cutting a new driveway near the outside of the field, staying on higher ground to get to the house. Down in this area where we cross with the driveway, because it is so boggy, we have so much water coming through here, we're going to dig a couple of fish ponds. I have an area already that we were digging topsoil to put up around the house. We'll get in there and we'll dig out what we can with the small tractor, and then we'll get a neighbor with a large excavator to come in, make the hole deep enough to hold water year round. We have an area over to my left here that has an intermittent spring that flows at least 6 months of the year. That will be another pond over there. As we start digging these ponds here, because we're changing the water table there's a possibility we'll be raising it and creating another boggy area. We may end up with a third pond in this area. On the other side of the new driveway, we have a intermittent stream that comes down off the mountain in front of us. Used to go between our property and the property next door in a dug canal. Well, over years that canal has silted up, and now that stream jumps across and comes through the field. We may put another pond over there. We know that the soil type over there is going to be more rocky. We may end up with some issues with the pond like that holding water. So it's something we're going to have to explore. We'll do videos about all these ponds, digging them. We'll also do some videos about how we determine the soil types using government resources online. As you can probably tell, looking at these videos, it's pretty windy out here, and today is not a windy day. So we're going to plant evergreen trees on both sides of the property as wind breaks. We have a lot of seedlings and small trees we've brought up here that we'll be planting in small groves out here in selected places. But we have a grove planned of Japanese maples, pawpaws, and then elderberries and other small trees over in this section. The area of the property between the two driveways is a well-drained soil. Doesn't have quite the bog issues as we move across it. We have a power line that does cut across the property that divides it into two sections, but we're developing this into what we call our lower orchard and what will be our upper orchard. We've already started stripping sod from the area that's our lower orchard. We have about 100 fruit trees to go in here right now. A lot of heirloom apples, but we've also had pears and peaches, apricots, nectarines to go out here. Hope to get those in the ground in just a few weeks. A lot of the trees that we're going to be planting were apple trees that we grafted last spring. We'll be grafting some more in just a couple of weeks. We'll do some videos showing you the grafting, how that works. We are also, as part of this area, have an area that we are putting parallel beds that will have small fruits like blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, hardy kiwis, grapes, scuppernong's, muscadines. Doing that, we're actually taking the soil we're stripping off of the orchard area and moving it into excavations we've done over there to give really good dirt for those small fruits. And then the area out here that's not taken up by orchards or ponds, we're going to convert it over to wildflower meadows. We're working with USDA using their input on native species that we'll establish out here to take over this entire area. Then we have an area on the other side of the driveway closer to the house. We're going to be building raised vegetable beds. We have been stockpiling dirt, moving it over there to use for those beds. In South Carolina, we had chickens and ducks and honeybees. We hope to start with some of those animals out here. We'll do videos on that. And lastly, we're going to add a greenhouse by the house over here. So that's a lot of the work we hope to accomplish this year. Check back with us often. There's going to be a lot going on out here. And subscribe to our channel so we know that you want to see this progress.